What if the goal was never to become perfect? What if it was something better than that? Most of us carry a quiet picture of who we're trying to become, but sometimes that picture looks fuzzy. You've read the books, done the work, and still feel like something's missing. Jung had a name for what we're reaching for, not perfection, but individuation. And in the world of Jungian archetypes and depth psychology, it's the single most misunderstood concept there is. And the ancient Egyptians, they gave us a picture of what that looks like at the high stage of awakening. Using 4 distinct Jungian archetypes, each one represents the highest version of a different part of who you are. Now here's what I want you to walk away knowing today. You already carry all 5. You just need to meet them. I'm Linda, your guide through your inner and outer lives. I'm a real person and not an AI voice. For 50 years, I've taken the hardest ideas in Jungian psychology and Jungian archetypes and turned them into something you can actually use today. Real tools to help you find your way home. No jargon, no fluff, just the map. Today, that map is 5 cards about being better than perfect, and the ancient Egyptians knew about them. Drawing on both the wisdom of the ancients and his own personal experiences, Carl Jung developed the process of individuation. He described it as the development of the psychological individual as a being distinct from others. It is the development of the individual personality. In today's environment, we call that becoming who you were created to be, of becoming whole. But don't confuse individuation and wholeness with perfection. Perfection is found only in the eyes of the beholder. What is perfect for one is not necessarily perfect to another. And don't confuse individuation with brokenness either. To refer to something as broken implies that it needs fixing. You don't need fixing, but you may need healing. And you do that by waking up, by becoming aware, by bringing into consciousness the truth of who you already are. Here's the path that brought us here. In this series, you've moved through 3 layers of the self. First, the false self and the roles we play. That's the virtual soul where you are asleep. Then the soulless person where individuation first begins, moving from surviving to thriving. Today, the soulless spirit, the highest level of individuation and becoming. If you've ever felt like you were watching your own life from the outside, unable to fully land in it, you already know the observer. Imagine you are in ancient Egypt, the land of the pharaohs. As you cross the desert floor, a giant pyramid rises up in front of you. You see that it has 4 sides, and each side has a labyrinth-style path. It stretches a mile into the sky, and at the very top, you can barely make out a lone figure sitting quietly. This is the observer. He called this the Transcendent function, a witnessing presence that sits above the drama of the ego. The observer can see what is happening far down below in the material world of the virtual soul. But instead of getting directly involved like the players in the Narcissus trap, it sits and watches. Now, the observer carries 2 glows in your inner awareness. First, an inner glow. That's the quiet, centered awareness inside you. It's more than just the spark of life. It's the one who can step back and see your patterns without becoming them. And also an outer glow, the way that inner stillness starts to radiate outward into your relationships, your work, your presence in the world. And when you become more fully yourself, the people around you feel it. You don't just change, you illuminate. So what are the 4 Jungian archetypes that make this possible? Let's meet them now. The pyramid is also an important archetype. Each of the 4 sides represents the 4 elements of your soul at the highest level. That's the higher intellect, higher emotions, free will, and the light body. These icons were introduced in the Spirit's Wizard of Oz video. The link is in the pinned comment below. Labyrinths illustrate the winding, twisty nature of your journey through self-realization and self-actualization and onto self-transcendence. Each labyrinth has a guide. One of these 4 forces is dominant in you right now. Let's find out which one. Your inner council is waiting. The Egyptian god-inspired archetypes symbolize your spirit soul as it functions in the individuation process in your unconscious. Each is a member of what I call the observer's inner council. As transcendent archetypes, these gods can travel between the 2 worlds of your conscious and your unconscious and of your spiritual and physical worlds. As they move, they take with them a form of the observer's light specific to that soul element. See which light you carry most right now. And we're about to meet all 4 of them. But first, before we walk up that pyramid and meet each of your inner council, I want to pause here for just a moment. If what you're hearing today is already stirring something in you, if some part of you is recognizing itself in this map, then you're exactly where you need to be. Go ahead and hit the like button right now. It's a small act, but it tells YouTube that this kind of depth psychology content matters, and it helps other seekers find their way here too. And if you're new to this channel, subscribe, because today's video is one piece of a much larger journey we're taking together. If you've ever felt intellectually overwhelmed, like you're drowning in information but starving for real understanding, Thoth is the part of you that knows the difference. At the transcendent level, this ibis-headed god, Thoth, is a version of your higher intellect. As the god of wisdom and cosmic order, he is the part of you that has transformed from just accumulating information to understanding it. He carries with him the light of wisdom when he returns to consciousness as the sage. He helps you in knowing when to hold on and persevere or when to let go and just let it flow. Can you think of a moment when a single realization changed everything? When the fog lifted and you suddenly just knew? A real aha moment. That was Thoth walking beside you. Tell me about it in the comments below. I want to hear your story. And if Thoth is the higher intellect in your mind, who is its counterpart? That's where Ptah comes in. Have you ever looked at a problem and felt completely stuck, unable to see any way through? That's the absence of Ptah. Ptah, as the mummified god, carries the light of creativity. This special gift of seeing old things in new ways opens your eyes to seeing not what it is, but what it can be. As your higher emotion, he is transformed from the dreamer of your soulless person to a creator in your subconscious. It is here that Ptah helps you to bring into existence in a new form something that had not existed. It might show itself as thinking outside the box in problem solving, or to envision an old wardrobe as an artistic storage area for your electronics. Yet even greater than that is the ability to see suffering as neither good nor bad, but as a part of the growth process. Leave a comment on how you have experienced suffering and helping you grow. Everything we're exploring today, the observer and his inner counsel, it's all laid out for you in the Soul Archetypes card deck, and it's completely free. Each card is a visual anchor for the archetype you're about to meet. As we walk through each one, use the deck to see which force is most alive in you right now. Have you ever felt trapped? Not by circumstances, but by who you've been told you are. That bondage is exactly what Isis breaks through. Just as in Greek myth, wings are a symbol of the ability to transcend the earth and fly freely about between the heavens and earth. The power of the Isis wings illustrates how, when you are released from the bondage of the limitations of the social world, your will can soar to new heights and perceive the mysteries of the spirit world. Just as Isis explored the lands of Egypt for the pieces of her deceased husband, your free will explores the lands of the unconscious for the missing pieces of yourself. This aligns with what depth psychologists call volitional individuation, the moment free will stops being reactive and becomes intentional. Isis not only restored life to her husband, she produced the new life of their son Horus. When your will follows the light of life and rebirth, you are healed and free to be who you have always been. Not broken, but healed. No longer asleep, but truly awake. Which of the 4 archetypes feels most alive in you right now? And what has it cost you to ignore it? Tell me in the comments. And when you've done that inner work long enough, when you've walked enough of the road, something shifts and Anubis appears. Here's a pain that doesn't get talked about enough in depth psychology: the loneliness of the one who sees. You've done the inner work, you've walked the labyrinth, and sometimes you look around and everyone else seems asleep. This last god of the 4 paths may be the most puzzling. It is Anubis, the one with the head of a god, the psychopomp, the one responsible for guiding souls through the challenges of the judgment and then the journey into the afterlife. In Egyptian mythology, he is the guide between worlds. He carries with him the observer's light of experience. He knows the way because he has already walked it. He is your guide, your light body, and not your tormentor. When you become an experienced guide, you return to the world from which you began and now continue as a guide to others. Just as in the hero's journey, you return with your treasures as a gift, not to manipulate others into following what you see, but to offer it freely when another asks for it. Not as one with superior knowledge who looks down on the herd, but to maintain humility about your own need for continuing growth. But as one who is not cold, but calm, not forceful, but with quiet authority, and not trying to rescue or defend anybody, but rather to lead for those who are looking for a way. And so, the inner counsel is now complete. So here's the payoff, the one that Jung spent a lifetime pointing toward. Remember the pyramid we started with? 4 sides, 4 labyrinths, 1 summit. Thoth walks beside you when the fog lifts, and you suddenly just know. Ptah is with you when you see possibility where others see only problems. Isis is with you when your will breaks free from the weight of who you were told to be. And Anubis? Anubis is with you when you've walked enough of the road, then you can quietly, humbly light the way for someone else. Together, they are your inner council, and the observer sits above all of it, not to judge, not to control, but to witness, to hold the space where all four can do their work. This is individuation, not a destination, not a grade you receive, not perfection achieved, but a living, breathing process of becoming more and more of who you have always been. The ancient Egyptians encoded this message in stone for a reason, because this map, it's timeless, and it already belongs to you. The foundation videos for everything we explained today in these cards are linked in the description below. Check in with these to explore the false self, the Narcissus trap and the drama triangle in the theater set, and the Wizard of Oz set. In the next video, we follow the ancient secret of your inner transcendental keys. Before you go, one question for you to sit with. Which of the four soul forces feels most alive in you right now? Are you the sage, the creator, maybe the curious explorer, or perhaps the guide? Leave me a comment below. And if you don't have your free soul archetype card deck yet, find it waiting in the description below. It's the physical anchor for everything you just walked through today. Until next time, keep asking life's deepest questions. The answers are already in you.